"You're not even family anymore," she said, her smile sharp and effortless, like those words cost her nothing. Her voice slid smoothly across the polished mahogany of the boardroom table. Cold, deliberate. This meeting is for heirs only. Laughter bubbled from the others. My brother David's low, smug chuckle mingled with the lawyer's dry humor, as if betrayal was some kind of bitter cocktail best enjoyed with a side of wit. I said nothing. I didn't need to. In my hand, I held the quiet revenge no one had seen coming. There was a time when David and I were inseparable, racing bikes down Old Mill Road, sneaking whiskey from Dad's cabinet, covering for each other when we got caught. He was a golden boy, smarter, sharper, smoother, and I didn't mind. I was happy playing the shadow, content in the background, until he took her. Meline, my ex-wife, now his. I still remember the night I introduced them. I trusted them both. Two smiles I loved in one room. How poetic. How stupid. They started sneaking around before the ink on our divorce was even dry. I caught them by accident. David had texted me instead of her. "Tell your husband I'm working late again." He tried to brush it off, said it was a joke. Meline said nothing. She just stared at me, chin high, like she was finally done pretending. "You always settle," she said, cold as ice, "with your life, with your dreams. With me," that word, asterisk settling asterisk, stung deep. That was the moment I knew I wouldn't settle ever again. I stayed quiet, played the fool, let them have the wedding in Martha's Vineyard, let them dance over what they thought was a dead body. They didn't know I was already digging up bones. Dad died 3 months later. Heart failure, swift and final. David and Meline were the first to circle the like vultures eyeing carrion. Our father's estate was vast. Old money, sprawling land companies, trust funds wrapped in layers of red tape, a generational empire. But there was one thing they never knew. While they played house, I sat by Dad in hospital rooms. We talked about legacies, regrets, blood, and betrayal. One night, when the machines were quiet and rain tapped against the window like a ticking clock, he looked at me and said, "You're the only one who stayed." The next day, he changed the documents. Not the will, the ownership. Over the next 8 weeks, I moved quietly, transferred title deeds, shifted assets through a shell corporation I had built 2 years ago when suspicion first gnawed at me. Dad's land went into a trust controlled by an LLC, owned entirely by me. No loopholes, no room for challenge. They never saw it coming. They were too busy counting money that no longer bore their names. Now, here we were again in the boardroom, the oak panel walls echoing centuries of silent judgment, oil paintings of ancestors watching down like ghosts with knowing eyes. Meline was draped in a cream dress, pearl earrings, designer confidence. She looked every bit the victor. David sat at the head of the table, as if it were made for him. The lawyer opened the folder and frowned, flipping through the papers again. "Wait! This can't be right." David leaned forward, incredulous. "What? These properties? These businesses?" The lawyer cleared his throat. "They're no longer part of this state. They were transferred months ago." "To who?" Meline snapped, her voice sharp. That's when I slid the folder across the table. Deeds, signatures, stamp after stamp, all under my name. They froze. Meline laughed, but it was brittle, fractured like a cracked mirror desperately trying to reflect elegance. "That's not possible. You're not an heir anymore." "No," I said, voice steady. "I am. Not an heir, I'm the owner." David grabbed the papers, reading and rereading. His face twisted in disbelief. "You manipulated him. You tricked Dad when he was weak." I locked eyes with him. "I stayed. You left." Silence. Meline turned to the lawyer. "Do something." He raised his hands. "There's nothing to contest. These transfers are clean. Legal." David stood abruptly. "You think this makes you better than us?" I stood as well, calm and sure. "No, it makes me free. They thought I would break when they took each other. But I didn't. I learned how to be quiet, how to wait, how to strike where it hurts most. Status, wealth, legacy. They married for money, But the money left the moment I walked in. They laughed at me once. Now the room was still. I walked past him on my way out. David clutched the papers like they might magically change back into his name. Meline didn't look at me. Her lips pressed tight, her hands trembling in her lap. I stopped at the door. This meeting was for heirs, I said quietly. Guess I'm the only one left. Then I left. No regrets. Only silence. And silence, when it follows betrayal, is just another name for justice.